2001, I lost my best friend and daughter in the fight against domestic violence.
Our 28-year-old daughter, Lydia, was the victim of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, wielded by her ex-husband. A few hours later, he reported finding her dead.
We made a lot of mistakes during our 9-year walk with her through a violent relationship.
People want to know if we had done things differently. Could we have prevented her death?
How can we know that? We each have the right to make our own decisions.
But we know many things we did caused her to resist our help.
And we understand that if we had known the things you will hear and see today, our chances of helping would have been better.
Rather than allow professional actors to tell this story, we've chosen those who know it best, ourselves. What kind of a guy is this ex-husband? Joe's from a religious family, but it didn't take. He's a redneck at heart. He has a 10th grade education. He spent time in jail for a number of crimes, and he doesn't believe he ever made a mistake and wouldn't admit it if he did.
To tell our story, we've chosen a novel approach. We'll start at the beginning. And in the beginning, the sensation was that of just floating, a gentle motion that was soothing. She was warm and comfortable, just relaxing in a fetal position. There was no awareness of time, only a sense of well-being. She was at peace with her surroundings. There was no sense of hunger or thirst or anything except comfort. Suddenly there was movement, not her movement, but a strange sensation. Her heart began to pound faster and faster. The floating sensation diminished until she felt confined, squeezed in fact. The pressure increased and she began to fear that she would be crushed and that her life would come to a quick end. She was afraid and the fear caused her to want to cry out, but she could not. Something was pulling on her head. Suddenly she was being held and she was cold and crying. She tried to focus her eyes on the shape of something very large holding her, but she could not. The person who was holding her moved and placed her in arms that felt soft and warm. A calm, loving, caressing voice came to her, and it was so soothing. She was warm and comfortable, but there was an emptiness in her belly. After a time, a soft object was placed in her mouth, and she began to taste something sweet. As she moved her mouth, the sweet nectar flowed even faster. In a few minutes, the emptiness in her belly was gone, and she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep.
What were the most common feelings during the time Lydia and Joe were together? Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to take action, make things right, put things back the way they were.
Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying, then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast. High hopes for a good life, but alas, despair, deep, dark, blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain. Lydia was normal with normal faults and her share of problems without Joe. She always approached life with a sense of determination. I remember once when we lived in Georgia, a garden snake got into her room and it scared her pretty badly. Her dad took it outside and we told her she could sleep in her sister's room that night. Her response was, "Well, no, I've got to go back in there sometime." Lydia was plagued with an eating disorder, and Joe took full advantage of that weakness to control her. When she was in control, she had a plan for her life, her time, her money, and her spiritual well-being, and she lived rigidly within that plan. You might find it interesting that Lydia always called me Mommy, even to the time of her death. "Oh, Mommy, I am so excited to be at college. I love my dorm and my roommates. Why, I can't believe I'm 2,000 miles away from you and Dad. On my own, I feel so grown up.
An excerpt from a letter from Lydia near the end of her first year. I'm really anxious to get home so we can all be together again. How about the night I get back, we have a picnic? Or all go out to eat. That'd be so much fun. There are so many things I want us to do. Go to Watermania, go shopping, take the kids to the park for a picnic, go to the beach, go to Alan's baseball games, and spend time with you and Dad. Well, Lydia's home. My, how time flies. Seems like she only left yesterday. One more semester to go. A degree in foods and nutrition. You know, I really think Lydia's got her head on straight, and I think she's going to do really well. How foolish can parents be? We thought all the bumps in the road were smoothed out with Lydia, and she was well on her way. Little did we know.
I can't believe it. Lydia's going out with Joe Wheeler tonight. Can you believe that? Why, he just got out of jail, and she chooses to take up with the likes of him. I think she has lost her mind. She says she's going out with him whether I like it or not.
What did you say?
Well, I said, if that's the attitude you're going to take, we might as well not even pay for you to go back to school. You might as well stay home and ruin your life. And she said, well, if that's what you decide, then I guess it'll have to work for me. Things got pretty heated, but I just don't know why we should blow our money, send her back to school, and her just take up with the likes of him.
Well, is it better for her to be here with him or at school away from him?
Oh, Jack, I'm just so worried and disappointed that she would do this. But I guess you're right. She's better off not being here. Lydia, what are you doing home? I know it's spring break, but I didn't think you were coming home until after graduation. What do you mean you've been here for 3 days? Where have you been? Where are you staying? Lydia, are you telling me that you're staying at Joe's house rather than come home and be with your family? I really felt awful that I hurt Mommy, but I just had to do what Joe wanted me to do. At the time, I didn't realize how control was such a big part of an abusive relationship. I couldn't believe that this sweet daughter, who for 3 years couldn't wait for my phone calls every Sunday afternoon and would write letters home 2 and 3 times a week, would even think of coming home and not see her mother first. Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying. Then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast, high hopes for a good life. But alas, despair, deep, dark blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain. And I realized that I had built a barrier between us with my attitude toward Joe. Well, I blew it again today, Jack. Lydia asked me to take her to the airport so she could go back to school.
Well, that was a good opportunity to talk.
No, she wanted Joe to go with us, and that meant I had to come back with him alone. I really let him have an earful, too, and didn't do anything to make my relationship with either one of them better.
Well, I can see that would be difficult, but still, you have the right to tell him how you feel. I can just hear him on the phone with Lydia.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure it went something like this. Your mother, the bitch, really chewed on me all the way home from the airport. Why, she said every bad thing she could to me. She even told me you deserve better than I'd ever be able to give you. You see what I told you? They ain't never gonna accept me. And if you keep listening to them, we might as well bust up now. If I'm gonna control Lydia completely, I gotta screw up this thing she's got with her parents. Why, if she keeps listening to them stupid do-gooders, I ain't never gonna be able to control her the way I need to. I know how to do it, and I'm good at it. Why, I've spent my life learning how to make other people do what I want.
We know he did everything he could to increase the control and make the isolation more effective.
And she was responding exactly as he had hoped, by not visiting us and staying in communication with us. These are classic isolation tactics, and because I let my anger toward Joe and my concern for my daughter control my emotions, I had made the void between us even wider and more difficult to repair. The control and isolation were well cemented into the relationship. Oh, Jack, the trip was just great. Lydia's graduation was wonderful, and she didn't talk about Joe at all. I really believe that relationship's beginning to cool. She's going to be home in a few weeks, and we need to decide what we can do to help her get a job and get started with her new life.
Well, there's still some money in the school account. Maybe we could help her get a car.
Guess what, honey? My parents are going to take the money left in my college account and get me a car. Isn't that great?
Well, you better not bring anything around here except the Ford Mustang.
Thanks for the Mustang, Dad. I just love it. I'm going to go pack up my stuff. Me and Joe are moving in together.
Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to take action, make things right, put things back the way they were.
Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying, then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast, high hopes for a good life, but alas, despair, deep, dark blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain. I really felt bad that I used my parents and let them buy me a car, thinking I was going to work on keeping my life straight, but I know Joe's a good guy. He just needs a chance, and I know I can change him. And if I have to live my life on the rough side for a while, it will be worth it when he is fixed. Oh, Dad, I didn't think you were going to come and get me in time, Dad. I didn't think you were going to come before the cops came and found the drugs and took me to jail. I got to get rid of these drugs, Dad. I've got to get rid of the drugs before the cops find them and take me to jail. I got rid of the drugs now, Dad. You can take me home now. Everything will be okay. I was doing a lot of drugs back then, and I was paranoid all the time. It was a really bad time, and I had trouble thinking straight. I just knew that I had to be with Joe to be happy. Or that's what he had me believing.
Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to take action, make things right, put things back the way they were. Okay, you stupid bitch. You threw my stuff in the pond. Now you're going to have to get out there and earn the money to buy some more drugs. I know this drug dealer over in the ghetto that'll give us some drugs if you'll sleep with him. What are you looking at? You threw the stuff in the pond, not me. Now get out there and use that body to get some more drugs. Or you can go home to Mommy and Dad, but there won't be any crack to smoke there. And I'll have to tell them about the drugs you've been doing.
What a shock. I really thought he loved me and respected me more than to treat me like a piece of meat. I don't know if I can do this or if he will change, but I'll just smoke some more crack because I don't have many other options. The thought of going home is not even on the table. He is so in control.
Eric called today. We were talking about Lydia and Joe. He said he has these clients that will break both of Joe's legs for $200, and he'll pay for it if I want it done.
But Jack, Eric's an attorney, well-respected and ethical.
Some things require drastic measures, honey.
Well, what did you tell him?
Told him, yes, that's what I wanted to do. That's exactly what I wanted to do. But give me a day or two to think about it.
Well, you take care of that because I don't want to know.
Yeah, right. Joe shows up with 2 broken legs, and you won't remember this conversation?
Just be assured I will never remember this conversation and never blame you for anything. How could I? I know nothing.
Well, sweetheart, it's Christmas, 1994. Lydia's home. The little kids are so excited to have her here for Christmas. My time flies. Alan's 9, Kay's 8. No Joe. Life is really good.
Yes, Lydia's home, but only after an extremely violent episode following dozens of instances of abuse. We can only hope that she won't be taken in by his hollow promises to never do it again. That's his way of controlling her.
Yes, officer? My daughter Lydia, yes, she's here. Yes, I can get her. She's asleep right now. You have a warrant for her arrest? That's a horrible thing to do on Christmas morning. No, I understand. But I'm not sure her little brother and sister who are watching this will. I wonder if you or your partner might talk to them and tell them you don't like doing this. I don't want them to come away from this with feelings of resentment toward officers of the law.
Alan, Kay, Lydia did something wrong and she has to go with the police for a few days and talk to them and tell them that she's sorry. Yes, we're sorry, and we love Lydia, but still, what she did was wrong.
What did she do? Well, she bought some things and paid for them with a check and didn't have money in the bank for the people to be paid. Yes, that is wrong, and that's why Lydia has to go with the police.
You can't imagine how horrible it felt to be at home at Christmas and have the police come and take me away in handcuffs in front of my parents and with my little brother and sister watching and crying. The police let me give my brother and sister presents that I had for them. And that was nice, but this was all so awful. And it was all because I couldn't tell Joe no when he wanted me to do something really stupid. Well, Lydia lost her job at the country club. She's jobless again.
Surprise! I understand it's hard for her to hold a job with her lifestyle and the way Joe controls her. Is he still taking her to work and keeping her car? He doesn't have a job now, does he?
He hasn't had a job for more than 2 or 3 days in the last few years. What I understand happened was, okay, Lydia, when you get there, you take out the trash and put some beer and wine in a sack and set it out by the dumpster. I'll come by in a few minutes and pick it up. Don't give me that shit about losing your job. Why, those dummies won't even notice. And besides, it's not such a great job anyway. And I'm going to win the lottery soon, and then neither one of us will have to work again. Just do it. Or would you rather I remind you who's the boss of this couple? Why, if I didn't help you control it, you'd just be a fat slob. And who'd want a slut like you anyway? Happy birthday, Dad. I made your favorite cake. I just love parties. Just a minute. Hello? I know, but it's Dad's birthday. Okay, I'll be home in a few minutes. I've got to go, Dad. Some major crisis. I love you, Dad. Happy birthday. I really enjoyed parties at my parents' home, but every time I would go there, I would get a call telling me that I better come home and threatening me if I didn't. I knew what would happen if I didn't go, and it just wasn't worth the pain. He was in control, and I knew it.
Eric, are those clients of yours still around to break this jerk Joe's legs? Yes. Yes, Eric, I do. Okay, Eric. I'll call you in a day or two. Thanks, Eric. Goodbye. Well, sweetheart, it's just been a year of beatings, fights, breakups. Comes home, leaves the next day. Now that Joe's in jail and will be there maybe for a while, perhaps Lydia can regain control of her life.
She's got a good job and a nice little apartment, and she'll be fine until he gets out, and then the whole thing starts over again.
Joe got out of jail again. Would you like to guess where he's living?
I can't believe she let him back in. She was doing so well and had a good friend in Sarah next door. Lydia's friend and neighbor told me that she felt so bad for Lydia. She said that she would hear Joe yelling at her and beating her, and then he would leave, and she would hear Lydia crying late into the night. She said she understood that they were going to move into a house on the edge of town with some other couples. She said she hated to see Lydia leave, but she was glad she wouldn't have to hear Joe beating her anymore.
The man who owned the house where Joe and Lydia moved told me that he saw Joe beat Lydia to the floor and start kicking her and yelling at her and telling her he was going to kill her. About that time, Joe's parents drove up out front, and Joe grabbed his Bible, ran out, got in the car, and started laughing and talking as though nothing had happened. Another time, Lydia was trying to leave, and the car wouldn't start. Joe came out, broke out the window, grabbed the keys, dragged Lydia out, took her in the house, and beat her viciously. Haven't heard anything from Lydia today, have we? I understand that the police have a warrant out for Joe's arrest, but they can't find him.
Oh, Jack, I'm just so worried and disappointed. I haven't heard from them for over 6 weeks. I've talked to her friends, and they don't know where she is. Well, I even called the police, and they were no help. I went so far as to call Joe's parents, and they don't know where they are. From Lydia's journal. Tonight I was thinking back to the Tennessee fiasco. There was a warrant out for Joe's arrest in Georgia, so Joe forced me into a van with some people that he knew, and we went to Tennessee. Joe wouldn't even let me get my purse or call my parents. We lived in a rundown trailer in the woods. There was a nice couple that lived next door. We had no money, no food, or anything. I remember looking in dumpsters for something to eat. Joe had brought drugs, so we had that. I called Mommy from Tennessee and told her about how Joe had been hitting me, and the neighbor came over to stop it, and he and Joe got into a fight, and he shot Joe in the leg. The police took him to the hospital and found that there was a warrant out for his arrest in Georgia, so I knew that they would send him back. I was stuck in Tennessee. I really wanted to come home. They didn't arrest the neighbor when they learned that Joe was beating me. I will be so glad to see Mommy. My parents sent me a bus ticket to come home because there was no airport nearby. They sent me some money for food, and the trip back was sort of restful. I feel bad for all the problems that I've caused them, and I know they love me or they wouldn't keep helping me. You see these jeans? These were the jeans that Joe was wearing when he got shot. I can't put them down. I don't know. There were Joe's and I don't know.
Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to take action, make things right, put things back the way they were.
Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying. Then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast, high hopes for a good life. But alas, despair, deep, dark, blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain.
Joe went back to jail and Lydia filed an order of protection in which she said, Joe's in county jail and I'm afraid for my life when he's released. He's threatened to kill me and burn my parents' home, and I know he'll do what he's threatened to do. But honey, I promise I'll never hit you again. It's just, I can't stand the thought of losing you. And if we were married, then I wouldn't have to worry about it. I wouldn't have to get mad. I wouldn't have to be mean.
I'm sure you're thinking that she was smarter than to buy that, right? No, she bought it all. And to show how complete the control was, Joe's parents were notified, but I didn't have a clue that they were getting married until after they went to the Justice of the Peace. The years of building a relationship of love and trust had just disappeared. This sweet daughter who confided every little secret to her mother failed to mention that she was getting married June 1997. From Lydia's journal. My friend Shelley gave me a wedding shower today. It was so much fun. All of my old friends were there. We laughed and talked and giggled and had a wonderful time. When I got home with all the wedding presents that people had given me, Joe said,
Don't even bother unloading them. We're taking them back to the store and getting cash.
It really hurt me. And when I started to cry, Joe threatened to beat me if I didn't shut up. He said,
What do you want with all that junk anyway?
6 weeks later, I went to Lydia's apartment. She came to the door with a black eye, a broken finger, bruised ribs, and limping on a bad foot. I feel so dumb, stupid, helpless for believing that he would change. I really thought that if we were married, things would be different.
Eric, are those clients of yours still around to break this jerk Joe's legs? Yes, Eric. Yes, I do. Yes, okay, Eric. I'll call you in a day or two. Thanks, Eric. You know, honey, since Lydia moved in with your mother, it seems every time Joe goes over to talk to her, it really upsets your mother.
Well, yeah, he goes over there begging her to come back and threatening her if she doesn't, and it really makes my mother upset. I even asked him to please not go to my mother's house. His response was, I'm a man, and I can go where I want to go and do what I want to do, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop me.
Eric. Never mind.
Jack, why do you keep calling Eric?
Because that jerk Joe infuriates me, and I want him hurt. I want him hurt badly. But then I get to that point, and I know it's not the right thing to do, but I want it so badly.
Valentine's Day, 1998. Joe and Lydia were divorced.
We got the best Valentine present we could have ever hoped for. Lydia, your divorce from that jerk Joe is final. He is out of our lives forever. Yes, yes. I hope, because after all, he is a man and he can do what he wants to do. Lydia, honey, why are you crying? We just want you to be happy and have the kind of life we've always wanted you to have.
Oh, Dad, it's not that. It's just that I don't think I can ever have that kind of life.
Of course you can. You're still our Lydia. You can do anything you set your mind to.
But, Dad, you don't know about all the terrible things I've done. Did you know that I slept with a drug dealer?
Yes, I know you've made some mistakes, but that's in the past. And the person I blame is the person who pushed you into it, the person who was supposed to love you and protect you.
From my journal. June 1998. Things are pretty calm. Lydia has her own place, but she doesn't have a car. So I drive long distances to take her to work, 50 miles. But she's doing well, and we get to spend a lot of time together. December 1998. Jack has been offered a job in Longview, Texas, and we have taken it. We are moving and have asked Lydia if she wants to put her things in the moving van with ours and move away from this mess and get a new start. She has agreed, so everyone is headed for Texas.
Lydia got a job with the Longview School District. She has an apartment, she's got her car, and she's got her little dog. She's on a good exercise regimen. Life is really good.
Joe shows up at Lydia's door, July 2001, and says,
I know we've been divorced for 3 years, and I made some mistakes, but I've changed. I have a good job, and I'm doing well. I've changed. Let me in. You'll see. You're thinking she was too smart to fall for that again. Nope. She let him back in after all that time.
August 2001, Joe and Lydia went to Walmart, and Lydia became very upset when she couldn't find her car keys. I can't find my keys.
You stupid bitch. You can never keep up with anything. Now you've lost your keys. I hope you don't expect me to walk home because you're too stupid to keep up with your car keys. When we get home, I'm going to bust you up for losing those keys and making me look like a fool.
Are you the manager? Could you help me, please? I need some, I can't find my keys, and I need you to make an announcement and see if anybody's found them. I have to get us home.
Look again. I bet you just overlooked them.
I poured everything
I
out.
said look again. I'm getting tired of this.
I looked, and they weren't there. I must be losing my mind.
What mind?
At the trial, the Walmart manager would testify that Lydia seemed in a total state of panic and overly upset because she couldn't find her car keys. On August 31st, 2001, I spoke to Lydia. Hi, honey. You know, Dad and I are going to Silver City tomorrow, and Kay's going with us. Alan has to stay home because he has to work. He may need a ride. Could you help him with that? Thanks, honey. I love you too. Be safe. Based on police records, the following is our interpretation of the events that occurred in the early morning hours of September 1st, 2001.
Stupid bitch. I told you I'm the man. I'm the boss, and you're here to do what I want you to do. When are you going to learn that? The sensation was that of just floating, a searing pain in her head. Her pulse was racing, and her fear was increasing. There was no sense of time, only unbearable pain. She was in agony, lying in the fetal position. Suddenly there was movement, as though someone was kicking her. The floating sensation diminished until she felt squeezed, trapped in fact, as though someone was sitting on her. Someone was trying to force her mouth open. "You stupid bitch, I told you I'm the man, I'm the boss. Open your mouth." "You never listen." Something bitter was forced into her mouth. She was dropped back to the floor. Her pulse was racing so fast, she felt it must surely stop at any moment.
Mommy, Mommy, I need you. Come and get me and help me. I trusted him too much again. Please come and get me. I promise I'll do it right this time.
In a few moments, her fear subsided and her pulse slowed. She was almost comfortable, except for an emptiness in her stomach. In a few minutes, the emptiness in her belly subsided, and she closed her eyes and one final time drifted off to sleep.
From my journal, our vocabulary has changed to terms that we'd only heard on Law and Order or CSI, terms that have become part of our daily conversation, terms like blunt force trauma, cocaine intoxication by ingestion, funeral plots, embalming, perpetrating a fraud, evidentiary hearing, plea bargain, jury sequestered, invoking the rule, victim's assistance, and autopsy. On September the 5th, 2001, Lydia's older sister and I went to the mortuary to prepare Lydia's body for her funeral. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I looked at her bruised and broken little body. What monster could do this? How could we ever make her look like our Lydia? Could we cover the bruise on her eye and the bruise and the cut on her lip? Would her dress cover the bruises on her arms and legs?
On September 11, 2001, Lydia's ex-husband was at the Department of Motor Vehicles trying to get her car transferred into his name. "My wife died 10 days ago and I want to get her car changed over into my name." "Yes, I have a marriage license." "No, I don't have a death certificate." "Yes, I know there's a fee." Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to take action, make things right, put things back the way they were.
Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying, then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast, high hopes for a good life, but alas, despair, deep, dark blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain. Each morning when I get up and get dressed, I put a purple ribbon on my lapel. Some say purple is the color of healing, but to me it has a different meaning. I saw the purple bruises on my daughter's body, and so to me, purple is the color of pain.
The trial was held April 2004.
On the charge of murder, what is the finding of the jury?
Your Honor, we find the defendant not guilty.
On the charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, what is the finding of the jury?
Your Honor, we find the defendant guilty. During the sentencing phase of the trial, The prosecutor read the following statement. Count these injuries. We're talking about Lydia Smith. She's 5 foot 2 inches tall with a weight of 121 pounds. I count 23 different injury sites on her body. 23, and they want you to believe she was not beaten to death. The large cluster of bruises on the top of her head, bruises to the top corner of her head. There are 3 of them here. Single bruises to the lower bottom corner. Another bruise to the back of her head. Let's not forget this cluster of bruises that make up the black eye or the cut lip. Let's not forget the knuckle marks here, the fractured rib, and the hemorrhage around this rib. The bruise to her inner thigh, to her outer thigh, bruises, and look, there are multiple bruises in all these impact sites. Bruises to her right knee, bruises to her right shin, bruises to her left outside thigh, to her left inside thigh, bruises to her left upper shin, left knee, a cut to her left ankle, another bruise to her left elbow, bruises to her inner left upper arm, and the right inner upper arm. 23 sets of bruises.
In the matter of sentencing, what is the finding of the jury?
Your Honor, we sentence the defendant to 10 years in prison. Maddening anger, blind rage, pure hate, an overwhelming desire to make things right, put things back the way they were.
Sweet memories of a soft little bundle, so scared and crying. Then in my arms, the calming, the nursing at my breast, high hopes for a good life. But alas, despair, deep, dark, blue loneliness, feelings of failure, guilt, regrets, pain. Lydia's younger sister would give the impact statement for the family at the trial. I hate you, Joe. I just really hate you. You took away my best friend. She was all that I had, and now she's gone. But I'm glad you can't hurt her anymore, and I'm glad that you're going to be locked up like the animal that you are. From my journal, December 2001. It's December, and Lydia is constantly on my mind. The last 3 nights she has come to me in a dream. The first night, oh, Mommy, I wish you could see this. There are lights everywhere. It's the most beautiful place I have ever seen. We are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. The second night, oh, Mommy, I wish you could see this. There are lights everywhere. It is the most beautiful place I have ever seen. We are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. And on the third night, oh, Mommy, I wish you could see this. There are lights everywhere. It is the most beautiful place I have ever seen. We are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. For me, this was balm to my aching heart. It was a healing time and very personal. After the third dream, with sweet feelings of calm, I turned over in my bed and drifted off to sleep.